Did it go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hang
It's
on.
recording.
Oh.
We're recording.
That was terrible.
So we are back from our 10-day holiday in Jersey, which was fantastic. Let me tell you, the weather was immense every day. Such a blessing, such a fantastic holiday. We got one of those stand-up paddle boards. That was such good fun. Highly recommend getting that. Oh, kids had a great time. Loved every minute. Caught up with friends. Had lots of good food. I haven't put on any weight, which is in itself a miracle. I kept up with my fitness, went to the gym a few times, and now I'm off to PT. And then I'm going to go into the office, catch up with the guys. Really looking forward to catching up with the guys and getting into the office. And I know a bunch of people that sort of dread coming back off holiday, you know, back to reality. And don't get me wrong, holidays they're ideal, aren't they? They're sort of idyllic and you get away from it all. I get why people don't enjoy coming back off their holidays or sort of have some kind of dread. But I don't have that, and that's such a blessing. Part of the cool thing about what I do and the way in which I do it is I just love it, and it's such a privilege. It's not always been that way, let me tell you, but it is that way now. And it has been that way for a couple of years, and long may that continue.
Try ZipRecruiter today for free by going to ziprecruiter.com/Gladwell.
So I'm on my way to work, put on the podcast, and I've just realised, revisionist history, Malcolm Gladwell, the podcasts have started again. That is very good news. I really like this podcast.
Did you know you can now listen to my podcast on Spotify?
I didn't,
To
Malcolm.
subscribe
It's
to
good to know.
Revisionist History.
Now, normally I would be stood up at my desk. I have one of those standy up desks, but because I have torn the meniscus disc in my left knee, I have to sit down and not stand up as much and try and give it some rest. I don't do well sitting down, let me tell you. It's not great, but such is my life at the moment. So today's time in the office is all about webinars. We're doing a webinar next week. I've just got to get that finished, get my head around it, know what it is I'm doing. We've got Facebook Live going on. That's today. It's time to crack on. The life and times of being a CEO is going to B&Q, the hardware store, and picking stuff up when things breaks at the office. Not that I mind going to the shops. It's actually nice to get out and stretch the legs. I'm not a big fan of this sitting down all day. Hope my knee gets better soon. It is that time of the day where we are getting ready to do our Facebook Live. Are we Facebook Live-in? So how are you going to get your energy up? We have 11 minutes before Facebook Live. Very slowly lowering. They're slowly coming down, very slowly. Go. Hi, welcome to the Facebook Live. So I am at the house in the man cave. We are just about to record the podcast for this week's question of the vlog. And when it comes to doing podcasts, they're pretty easy to do. I record it straight onto the computer. I did have, and we do have at the office, we have a desk and you can record into the desk and mix it and EQ it and do all that clever stuff, which is technically better. I just didn't want that at the house. I have my mic here. This is a pretty cool mic. I think it's the Rode Podcaster mic. And that goes into the computer. I use here Adobe Audition. That's Adobe Audition, and that's pretty cool, easy to use. And then on the left what you saw was Evernote, and I use Evernote to just outline the question and the answers. Now with each question I usually give, you may have noticed, I usually give 3 points to the question. Now there's something quite nice about 3, and so today will be no exception as we jump into this week's question of the vlog. Hi, my name is Matt Edmundson and welcome to this week's podcast. What do you do when it goes wrong in business? How do you know what to do? Do you just sort of give up? Do you walk away? Do you fight? What do you do? And so I thought I would answer that question by maybe telling a story of something that happened to me at the start of 2013. The start of that year was horrendous. Let me tell you, it was awful. But we were coming off the back of a really great 2012. We had some great staff, great team, great business. The morale was great. Now, at the time, we predominantly supplied Dermalogica skincare products on our website. And so we got a letter from them at the start of 2013 basically saying that they were changing their pricing policy. Now, we had been buying Dermalogica products from Dermalogica for years, and actually there were no economies of scale. We bought them at the same price as everybody else. But in essence, what happened was by putting up their prices, because we were a massive customer, we bought millions and millions of pounds worth of products every year. The net result was our prices went up by 30%. And this had a cataclysmic effect on our business. You kind of think, well, the business is over, right? It was a game-changing event. We didn't know how big it would be, but we thought it was probably game over. And so the first thing that I did was I actually got my journal. My mind was just racing at 1,000,000 miles an hour for a few days. All kinds of thoughts and ideas were coming into my head which weren't helpful, and I needed to stop. And the way that I did that, the way that I sort of brought an order into the chaos, was to journal, and journal a lot about everything that was going on. And that brought an awful lot of clarity. Principle number one, when going through these kind of major crises in your business, communicate, communicate, communicate. I had a team of amazingly incredible people. And the last thing that I wanted to do was to keep everybody in the dock. Everybody knew that something bad was going on. So if you have a team, speak to them. And it's not just your team at the office, but it's also your team at home. I'm going to find it hard over the next few weeks and months as we have to let people go and restructure our business. You know, they needed to understand the consequences of whatever decision we were all going to face, and we all had to have an input. I wanted to know what the kids thought. I wanted to know what my wife thought about the whole thing. And eventually we came up with a plan to start again and to begin again. Tell it faithfully, be consistent to the truth, and tell it attractively. Don't try and con people, don't try and blind them. Just tell them the truth, but give hope at the same time and be truthful. It's amazing how well people will respond, okay? So that's number one, communicate, communicate, communicate. Number two is create space. And I did that in the journal. I needed to process my thinking. I needed to talk to God about what was going on. I needed to plan the next phase, right? It's tempting to work all the hours of the day. It's tempting just to keep doing the same old and get caught up in the detail. That's not ideal when you're the leader. You have got to find space in the day to separate yourself from everything that's going on, journal and process your thinking. Principle number 3 is never ever underestimate how loyal customers can be, especially because, and I'm not bragging and unnecessarily here, but we had a great company and we were great with our customers when it was good. We gave them great customer service, great offers. I think we were super helpful. I think we did everything well. And because of that, we built a loyal tribe. We built loyal customers. And yes, prices went up, but we didn't collapse and we didn't go bankrupt. We didn't go bust. We rebuilt the company. Sure, it looks different now to what it did back then, and it's in a very good place again, just not as dependent on Dermalogica. We've learned that lesson. So if you've worked hard to get the foundations for your company right, and you've offered great customer service, you will have loyal customers, right? So in the middle of a crisis, don't underestimate the value of that. Build your foundations well, because when the storms come, good foundations are what keeps you as a company. Okay, so that's a podcast recorded in one take. Well, in a few takes at the stop, but let's not talk about that. So if you have not subscribed to the podcast, check it out. Just go to iTunes and search Question of the Vlog. And in theory, if we've done it right, the podcast should come up and you should be able to subscribe to it on iTunes.